Hi, I'm Susan Lenart, and I have built products, lines of jewelry, bodies of work all over the world, high end and low end. And if I wanted today talk about if I were to advise my younger self way back then, what would be the 10 pieces of advice that I would give to my younger self to make sure that my company and my work and everything was strong and really working for me from the very beginning. So this is looking backwards. So some of the things that I would like to say, and I'm going to give you personal reasons in between here. It's like some of the things that I'd like to say is the first one. It's going to go 1 to 10, and the 10th one is really, really important. So I'm just going to go through and give you examples. So my number one is to always start with your passion. If you have a passion for a product or a passion for your line, or you love, love, love what you do, you have got something so special that very few people have in the world. I didn't realize that when I came in with my passion. I just, you don't realize how different you are from other people. We have to work so hard to get to our passion. There are ways to get to your passion and to find your passion, but when you find your product or your line and you're aligned, you're going to be in a much stronger position with clarity when you start building your work. So I say always follow your natural sense of design as a builder. No matter what people say about your work, when you're doing your authentic work, when you're aligned, there will be a place for you in this world. Isn't that crazy? It's like, look, when I started doing my original work, I was in fashion, and there was nobody around me that was doing these big fashion pieces like I was doing. And in my head, but I had such a passion and a love for it. I dreamt them. I ate them, I dreamt them, I wrote them, I built. And I put so much love and passion into this work that they couldn't help but to be successful. So that's all of this, like, invisible. When you're excited, you have a passion about something, you're just building up an energy in your work, no matter if it's a company, a product, a paintings, your jewelry work, anything that you do for the creator. One of the things that I can tell you is, with if you're a person putting together passion, you're not even competing with these bigger companies that are working with you, because the bigger companies will, in the end, like, if you want to sell your company, in the end, it's passion of what these larger companies look for. Someone who is small, that has a beautiful voice, has developed something so beautiful, and you're not even competing with these large companies. They're looking for someone like you to absorb into them. And I can give an example of, big companies like Anthropology, Free People, Urban Outfitters. Like, these companies, they need small artists to carry just a little bit of really original, one-of-a-kind work to help boost their store up and to make sure that people come in to shop and show up in person rather than online. Everyone knows that you buy more when you're in person than you would online. You can try things on, you fall in love with things, there's people that can help you find your way around. So there's a good example of that. So always follow and start with your passion. It's not about the money. Okay, number 2, be intentional as you create. So that means, like, when you get started, you've got your passion now, and you want to really follow this clarity. When you have passion, you're super clear. You literally have your power. So that's all about this third chakra here. You have self-esteem, you've got your power, and you're driven. So you really want to stay in this clarity so you can work your way in an organized method, and organize and building your work. And like I say, whether it's a product or a line of jewelry or a painting, body of work, anything like that, this works in all cases. And I found it true in my own work by mistakes I've made, failures and successes. So I would say that once you dive in and start your direction strongly and passionately, it takes a long time to back out from it. So when you start putting this energy in and you're working hard, moving forward with building in this way, just make sure you're going the right direction. You know, make sure that you're following your passion and you're continuing on this way. There's a lot of other opportunities and things that will come in to distract you, but you're always going to want to follow your passion first. And I can say, for me, it's like, yes, I was building bodies of work and lines of jewelry, and I think many people know me for this product that I built called ice resin that was all over Joanne Fabrics and Michaels and all over the world. I sold this craft product. Did I mean to get into craft? I'm a fashion person, you know. Did I love it? I really enjoyed it, but you know, I didn't realize that by making the choice to build this product and go into craft, that I would be taking away from me building in fashion. You know, they both were enjoyable, but really it's like you can't do everything, you know, until you get going. Maybe once your company is up and established, or your work. So it's like once I started down that ice resin pathway, that was my pathway. I was entering in the craft market, and for me, I fit better in really high end and in fashion more so than the craft world. But I was there, I did a good job, I enjoyed it, you know, and I did well with it. So, you know, once you start going down there, it took me, once I sold my company Ice Resin, it took me years to back out of the craft thought process and move back into fashion again. So anyway, it's all intentional. Be intentional with what you're creating. And remember, it all is coming from your heart and your passion. Make sense? Okay, number 3. When you are building your company, your product, your body of work, or anything that you're doing, your life, you know, this really works in all sense, even with your life. Your company and your product is you. That is a super strong statement, so powerful. And I want to talk about this one. So the direction that you're building it comes from you. You actually have to be the director. Even if you're the only person working for yourself, you have to make sure that I would sit down once a week and make sure you will line everything up, put all your business ideas, because if you're just a jeweler working in your studio, or if you're just a painter and you're a one-person show, you still find that you're doing a lot of business, right? Like you thought you were going to be an artist and a creator, and this is going to be fun, but it really, there's a lot of business that you're doing alongside of it, you know. So it's like sometimes you want to try to manage your time well, where you just have a smaller amount of business to be super organized and follow that passion to be the creator. So decide what type of percentage you're going to be spending on your business and what type of percentage on your creating, you know, in your building. If your company is you, it's really interesting. So the way that you feel, if you decide to pick a larger company, you can't just stand at your table and be designing all day and expect other people to know what you need or know your direction. And I've made that mistake before too. Know that you're the person who knows your company more than anyone else. You know, if you decide to hire marketing people or someone for shipping, you know, you have to be there making a decision right alongside of them, how you're doing shipping, what is going on. At different times in my life, I've been super busy, and I brought someone in and been like, okay, you design the shipping program, you design the marketing program. And what I realized in the end is I actually would not advise that at all. So I would advise to really keep your hands, especially at the beginning, maybe for the first year, you know, while you're doing your design, but really keep your hands on it. If you decide to, and for me, it's like, look, I'm all up for hiring people, hiring experts. And then if I hire a marketing person, one of my mistakes was I felt like that they're the marketing person. They know what's best, you know, and so I kind of let them take the lead. But what I realized is you are the smartest person in developing your own company, and you're going to be following your intuition. And if somebody comes in and they want you to work against the grain of what you're doing, say no. I met a woman years ago. Oh my gosh, she was probably one of my first mentors that I love, Tabra. She did this jewelry that she built in Southeast Asia. It was from the 80s and 90s. Oh my gosh, she was my mentor. Beautiful, beautiful work. And her, you know, she really took off. She was so busy. Her work was carried at least all through the United States. This is before the internet. And I ran into her a couple years later, which was so much fun to see her. I met her. She was actually took a class from me, so I was so excited beyond belief. But we had time to spend together, and she was telling me that marketing people came in, business people came in. She handed it over to her. They wanted her to change her profile. She dressed like an artist. She would go into different cultures, and they wanted her to be a more business-like person since her company started, doing in the millions. And it was against her grain, but she went with it, and she lost everything, so it's like, and me too. It's like I have been on the verge too, when I have thought someone else knows more than I do about what's going on, so my advice would be, you are the director, so you have to be smart enough to know about marketing, just a little bit about marketing, so you can direct your people. You have to be smart enough to know about shipping. You have to be just that little bit of smart enough. For me, it's like, I don't know all these little pockets inside my company, but I'm smart enough to know how to direct people. And if I'm not, I pick their brain. I spend time with them. I sit with them. I ask them a lot of questions about, how could we make this better? And that's one of the things that I'm finally getting strong at after all these years of practice, So, how can you help not to be successful when you're interacting with people working for you, and you're really, really getting to the core and letting people just grow within their skills, not micromanaging. Like at first, once you put together a program, then you let your person go, and you could just watch over them and make sure that, they're doing a good job, but really let them grow in their field. That's one of the things that I'm starting to do recently that I wished I would have done years and years ago to my younger self. I'm really have a few people working for me. We're a beautiful group. We meet online. We live all over the country. And we meet online once a week, and we discuss, and we talk together, and we communicate. And once we make a decision, I want to see where they grow with it. And here's another reason why that I know that your company is you. If you look at different companies, you can see the voice of whoever it is that trickles down through the company. When you look at, it's actually, when you look at Whole Foods, Whole Foods is a company where they really are all about just quality and value, and you feel that when you walk in there. You see different things. They will use small artists. They'll use, actually I knew quite a few people I knew that sell their product to Whole Foods, because they're always looking for organic, local, very smaller, to help grow people and be part of a community. Makes you feel good when you walk in Whole Foods. It's expensive, but it makes you feel good. I love shopping there, right? But, so all different companies have their fields. And it was so interesting because for me, when I had Ice Resin, I was a woman-owned business. Couldn't believe how large I was able to grow this company on my own. And I remember that my, Katrina, my office manager, one day she was, and it's like, I was from South Side of Chicago. I was really proud that I built this company. It was in Michael's. They were doing big business with me, Hobby Lobby, Joanne Fabric, Pacatans, all of them. I was shipping overseas to Amazon in a type of Amazon in England. I can't remember the name. But anyway, it was really satisfying. And I felt like, oh my gosh, we're a woman-based business, and it feels so good to be a woman-based business, and we're powerful as women. I've never really said out loud because I didn't realize I needed to put that on the wall so everybody could see it. I didn't know that I needed to say it, print it, write it, let it be the voice of my company. But it was understood because one day the manager of my company said, we are a woman-based business and we are so powerful and strong. And she felt it, and the people who bought from us felt it. So whatever you're thinking or however you're building it, the energy trickles through your company. So the brand of it is so important. I call it your pathway. I call it your complete pathway. So that's a really important to know who you are, know what you're about, spread it all over the place, let it leak out. Your company is you. Never doubt yourself. Follow your intuition. Trust yourself. That's important. Trust yourself. Meeting once a week with yourself, being intentional, really being in the moment and looking at your past week that happened and looking at your week, what's to come, you stay on track. and your company will be only about you and who you are and your voice. So that's what this is words of wisdom. I learned it through success and failure. All mine are through success and failure. Okay. So number 4 would be never do bad business. Woo! That's a big one. So what does that mean? Never do bad business. Oh my gosh. I have made a lot of mistakes here with being so tempted by working with a company I wanted to work with, or done bad business by not taking enough money because I really wanted to work with a company, or this company is not a good company, a shiesty company, but I somehow want it. To want the business more than you want to keep the integrity of your company. And I have done it before. I would totally advise against that. Never take a job that is not satisfying to you in some way. It will kill you. It will kill you. It's like, it's like the job is, there's a thing of, this energy work on the inside. As I am building my companies now, I'm doing 80% energy, 20% physical, the actual physical of building, but 80% is all behind the scenes of the unseen. And it's like when you do bad business with someone who isn't at your level, of consciousness, maybe they would undercut someone, or a little bit lie and cheat, or a little bit, not be as authentic as I want my brand to be. There's a thing as osmosis. Osmosis is you're always, so it's like if I'm here and a company is here, or a person is here that I'm hiring because they're cheap and I want cheap work. Say I want to do a builder that's cheap, and they're down here and I'm here with my company, and I don't mean in the world this high. I mean by the way I think consciously, and my conscious effort in the world is here. What happens is you're constantly pulling each other up and down. My whole job will be about pulling this energy vibration up, and this person's whole job, because they can't get there, will be just about really pulling you down. And man, I have been there before. And it's not fun. It goes on for a very long time. It's hard to really connect and communicate. It's not worth the money. It's not worth the cheaper price that I'll get from this builder, from someone who's at my level, who can really help me out, and we match our energy, because then we're easier to voice it out there in the world. You want your power and your voice, and the clearer your company can be in how it builds, why it builds. Also, just besides being in your company, the more powerful and effective your company could be. Sometimes that means firing people who can't quite, be there for you, which is too bad. It's always hard to let somebody go in your company once you've trained them and put in a lot of work, and you've worked together maybe a couple years ago. But, if you're feeling like someone in your company is not making the cut, you have to let them go, at least, in some way, or change their job, or, find different builders, find someone that matches you. That's going to be the most important. That could be death of your company, to keep working with people that don't match your vibration. Make sense? Burns you out quicker than you know, spins you around and wastes time. Number 5. That brings me to number 5. And I have experienced all of these. And this is really like at the beginning. There's so many different steps, so many layers to all of this. This is at the beginning. So when you do choose your work and your jobs, pick your work and your jobs, which is kind of from number 4. You want to always go towards, you want to always go towards the path of least resistance, because that's matching up with you. And I have fought that before and worked with other companies. The path of least resistance, when you start working authentically and working with your passion and working towards really moving towards your best self and building your company and building everything in it, whether large or small. Could just be you, but you're still building your company. It's like you want to go towards the path of least resistance. And that is because that's the way to preserve your passion. You want to keep your passion preserved. You want to, so jobs that you pick, if you find joy and happiness, like say, an art show asks you to show up, and sell your work there, or just show and do a presentation for the weekend, if it feels good, your people are going to match you. Like attracts like. Your real people are going to find you. I have a lot of people artists who I'm teaching or mentoring, and they'll ask me, they'll say, oh my gosh, well, guess what? I can pay $20 and just get some practice and do this little local event, this weekend. And I'm like, whoa, that's going to be nothing but hurting your spirit, because when you show, then, and I'm, okay, people will show up for these and they'll come back and they'll be like, oh my gosh, I was right next to a guy who had stuffed animals from China. I couldn't compete. People didn't understand my work. I have all handmade, really high end. So you have to be careful when you do choose your work or where you're going. You have to pick this very intentionally and hold out for it, really hold out to do the best shows, or pick the best jobs. It's like when I was in the craft world, I had Michaels that came into me. Oh my gosh, they were so beautiful. They really fit my vibration. I didn't expect Michaels Craft Company to fit my vibration so well. I had ice resin, they liked my jewelry, and they asked me to design a line of components for them. It ended up being, oh my God, it did $4 to $6 million retail a year for 5 years, which was incredible. It was their highest money line. They took a risk coming to an artist, but what I did is I shut them down over and over, because I would not budge from my integrity, because I was like, oh my gosh, look, I used to do museum exhibits, really high-end museum exhibits. I do runway, I do fashion. Then I started, then I got into craft, and I was like, okay, I can work with this company, but I will let them know I'm not going to hurt my integrity whatsoever. So I was like, look, this is the line, this is the quality I want to build. I want rights to turn this line. It was called Industrial Chic. I wanted rights to turn it down. Sometimes 3-4 times we'd have to send a piece back to China to get it manufactured again and switched up. So, my advice is to just always stay with your integrity. Like, look, I used to walk with the buyers of Michaels at Tucson Gem and Mineral Show, at some of these events and shows, because the buyers go there, and they said they had to flip their tags around, because as soon as a small artist saw that potentially this big company was looking at them, it put them off balance, So it's like, you want to make sure, first of all, we're going to go back to step one, where you're strong enough and you're going to stay with your passion, because when you're in your passion, you are so strong, you're not going to compromise. So you always go back to these. So these all lead back, all are interactive, all these numbers, because when you sit and write down what your business goals are once a week, when you meet with your right people, you're not going to get off track. So all of these steps are hand in hand to help you stay on track and stay in the right order. If that makes sense. If you start working with people who, you can get really burnt out. I'm telling you, doing bad business and not working in the right way can kill you as an artist and kill your creativity. That's for sure, And what's a creator and an artist without your creativity? You're nothing. We're nothing. We have to stay relevant, right? So these are the ways to stay relevant as an artist. Taking the right jobs, hiring the right people, sticking with your passion, making sure you take this time to yourself. Okay. I think that makes sense to you guys. Which brings me to tip number 6. Tip number 6. Energy is real. Whew, there. It's said. I used to be afraid to talk about this subject. I love this subject, and I talk about it over and over again. In fact, I teach a course that's about 80% invisible, where we build this 80% invisible, and it's called pathfinding. And then we go into 20% of the physical. And you can check out what pathfinding is all about. It's about all these elements, but I'll have the link up here at the end. So energy is real. So let's see. Don't work with people who vibrate at a different level. They'll always pull you down. So that's the osmosis, I think. And also, it's kind of number 5 and 6 are very, very close. I covered the same subject, but it is number 6, because about that, it's like energy is real. Acknowledge that, and that's part of it. So the more energy the more positive energy that you are putting into your work, whether you're at your studio bench, building your work every day, you want to stay clear. You want to have the clarity. You want to make sure you're tapped into your direction and not veer, because the more powerful you can build your company and stay within your passion and your whole presence of all of it, everything that I've mentioned, then the easier, then you go lead into alignment. And when you get into alignment, your people can find you so they can buy from you. Bigger companies can find you so they can represent you. A friend of mine, she just actually had a really large company. She's a fabric worker and painter, makes media, and all she's doing is staying really strong in her voice and who she is. And Free People found her. There's always these big companies where they're looking to find you. Anthropology found some other people here who are doing ceramic work. If you're strong in your power, your people can find you, right? Even if it's just your people to buy from you. I'm showing up on my YouTube, and I'm really working on creating a community on Creativity Collective for visionaries, and my people are finding me. And you found me here too. So there's that. So energy is real. Okay. Number 7. When it's always show up with your best foot forward. How do you do that? You stay in your passion. You stay in your love. You stay in your joy. I like to do this with, I like to show up with love, happiness, passion, wisdom. And if you can show up and still have all of this with your passion, you cannot help but to be successful. Isn't that crazy? If you keep going the same direction, you will be successful. I promise you. I promise you. If you show up and not be scattered, not go all over the place, not start having all this fear, how do you stay in this space where you feel all of these emotions, and how do you stay in this business where you continue to feel the joy and love? That's why I actually built this program, Unfolding. I'm just going to talk about my programs through here. It's like, also you can watch some other things on Creativity Collective here, where I just talk about nature heals, getting in nature, making sure you get your journal out, write things down. And I have a lot of different support system for the artist and creator in here, but one of my best and biggest is if you subscribe. It's called Unfolding, and this is a whole energetic support system for artists, visionaries, and builders. And it really is a community where we can meet on Discord, be positive, support each other. And I'm actually a Kundalini yoga instructor, and I learned talisman and energy from all over the world from traveling, worked with shaman, worked with all different kinds of people. So it's like for a lot of us, it's putting all of these energies together. And from my past and current successes and failures, I just pull all of this together, and I am a support system for artists and creators and visionaries. So think about subscribing. It's really cool. It's really fun. It actually, each month is about something different. Passion, love, creativity, bringing in your manifestation, getting clarity, all of this. It's all of that. It's so much fun. Take a look. Okay, so always show up with your best foot forward, and, work on staying in this energy that you started with. Whether you're exhausted, whether you're tired, it's just about showing up for yourself. Maybe you need some more rest, then get a little bit more rest. Showing up for yourself, loving yourself, being good to yourself. So that's what number 7 is all about. So important. And, it's like something that I have learned. I used to run myself ragged. I would show up teaching, be exhausted. I'd come home, raise my kids, be exhausted. I would build my product exhausted. And it's like, yes, my product did get to be really successful, but mostly when I took this downtime to rest up. I'd take summers off, and I'd take November, December, a little bit of January off in there. And when I could rest up, I could come back in strong, So that's the important part, is like, be there for yourself. Show up with your best foot forward, and the way to do that is to show up for yourself and take care of yourself. Okay, That brings me to number 8. Oh my gosh, these are so important, and especially throughout, but at the beginning. These 10 support each other so fully. So my statement is keep it to yourself. When you're at the beginning and you're starting an idea, you're starting a company, you're starting a brand, people always say, oh my gosh, somebody already did that. Somebody already did that. Oh my gosh, they did that already. They did that. And I had a piece of advice by someone who I used to travel with years ago. We used to go all over the world and we would buy. So I had a good art eye, and my friend had a business eye for like what to buy. And I would come back, he sold his pieces all over the United States to galleries. I came back to Chicago because I lived in Chicago. Oh my gosh, there were so many galleries, and I would go to the galleries and I'd sell all these beautiful collections of artwork that I've collected. I've had such beautiful talisman pieces and hand-woven adornment and, you know, just sculptures and more or less like folk, anything folk art, folk anything, you know, folk dance pieces that people used every day, like craft. So that was my expertise, but I had a good eye because I went to art school, Art Institute of Chicago. I went to art school, so I knew symbolism. So that's how I really became to love adornment, symbolism and adornment, talisman and adornment. And that's kind of really where I got my start with my work that I'm doing now. And to keep that passion, I always have to, you know, talking about number 7, keeping that passion. So you want to keep it, if you have that passion, keep it to yourself. Don't spread it out to everybody. Everyone's just going to tell you how you can't do it, how you don't have enough money, how there's someone already doing it, how there's someone better than you, how you're just an imposter, or you're going to feel like an imposter and you're going to start telling yourself the same thing. So I say, keep it to yourself. Let that energy build inside yourself. This is so important. Look, I get up and I talk every day about my business. No one really knows all the way. Just very few people know what my business is, because I'm keeping it to myself as I'm nurturing it, watering it, growing it. I'm not going to spread it out all over because I want this love to build. And when this love and power and clarity and everything about it builds so strongly, you know, you really have something powerful, and, you know, you're not paying attention to what other people are saying to you. That includes social media. You know, keep it to yourself. That includes social media. Be very, very careful. You know, yes, it's fun to get onto Pinterest and Instagram and YouTube and take a look and see what people are doing and pull in different ideas no matter what field that you're in. But know that there's always a place for you, because there's no one that's going to create this the way that you do, right? How many jewelers are there in the world? But, you know, how many people talk about energy and manifestation and building companies? I have my own people who resonate with me. You know, everybody has their own people. Like attracts like, you know. So I also know when I talk about subjects like this, that people who show up and watch my channel will also want to hear what I have to say, because like attracts like, right? And that's why we go back to number 5 or 6, where we're talking about being clear in yourself, right? These all relate to each other. So also you want to keep it yourself, because so many people, you know, are a dream buster. You don't want your dreams busted, especially at the beginning. They're fragile. Your dreams are fragile. They're so easy to break. Wait until you're deeper and deeper into this. I've actually already built a few companies and I know how to do them. So I'm stronger when I'm building a company. But what I have to watch out for, and if you're a person who's already built companies, is old paradigms I have to let go of and make sure that I'm still open to explore and move forward. So if you're a person who's coming in again, the second time around, the third time, using your old ideas of, you know, for me, it's like, oh my gosh, I love looking at how I failed. It's hard to do, but I love looking at my failures even more than my successes, because your failures will get you clearer and clearer to how to be successful. So I talk a lot of this about, you know, on different areas that I failed, you know. So this is what you hear from me. So, yeah, you know, when I was younger and I lived we're south side of Chicago. I lived in my house. We had a lot of people in our house in the second part of my life. And it's like, I was like, oh my gosh, I walked into a Pier 1, which just moved in to Chicago. And I was like, whatever this is what I am going towards. Like, I'm going to follow my passion. I don't know where it's going to take me. All I know is this is what I like. So I thought, oh my gosh, this was before the internet. I'm either going to have to move to the East Coast or West Coast. And I was like, I think the West Coast would have this more so than the East Coast. So I moved to the West Coast. There was so much more about cultures, openness about all different cultures, travel that came in and out of there. It's like you see people, they're the biggest ports, the East Coast and the West Coast, right in California and New York, for international people coming in and out, So for me, I moved there. And, I knew my family was all like, you're not going to be able to do that, what? So I moved when I was 19, and I never regretted it. I learned all about these energies. This was the beginning of this energy work that was so different from the south side of Chicago, So it's like, keep it to yourself, grow it in yourself, write it in journals. That's good ways to communicate. Show it to your friends or people who are a support system. That's why in Unfolding, I talked about my Unfolding course membership, very inexpensive because it really is about the community. I have also a community that we could show up and share with each other, because in my Unfolding group, we're all there to support each other and to help each other grow as artists, because we know we're like flowers. We don't take away from one another, we build. So that is number 8. Number 9, which brings me to number 9. So let's see, I say direction. So once there is no one else like you in the world, and I found out there was no one else like me in the world. So what you really want to do is, when you make your decisions, you take a deep dive into your passion, your love, who you are, and really just produce your work intentionally. Make sure it's all intentional. So you're following your direction. You don't want to get off track. There will be a lot of opportunities that come into you once you get going. Once you get going, you're strong, you're powerful, I promise you. In come the opportunities. In come people who want to work with you. And you have to keep your direction solid. Sometimes you don't want to tell people no, that you don't want to work for them. Sometimes it's like, oh my gosh, I've been like, oh my gosh, the money is going to be so good, I have to squeeze this into my life. But if it's going to get you to exhaustion, that's not going to do you good. If it's going to get you to a place where you're not strong, going in the same direction, if it's off track of where you're going, it's just going to take energy away from the area that you're building towards. So that one makes sense. And I've done that, definitely done that before. It's like so many opportunities came in, I took them. I didn't even follow through on some of them because I wanted them so bad, but in no way had the time to do them, So when you are really following your direction, you can get the right stuff done. I'm so proud of myself because I finished a book called Making Connections, which was profound in 2007. Finishing books and finishing bodies of work. Right now, I am staying in my direction. I'm staying profound. I'm not traveling a lot, and I love to travel. I'm staying here. I'm staying put. And I'm waking up every day, and I'm coming in, and I'm following my direction. And I'm following all of this advice that I'm speaking to you out loud. And I gather all this information from all the mistakes I took the first time around. So this is fun. I really like it. I'm finding clarity following all these tips that I'm giving to you. Wish my younger self would have known, but at least my older self knows, right? And last but not least, number 10. Number 10, the biggest thing, and this should be number 1, 2, 3, this should be all of it. Have fun. Woo! Just have fun. Oh my gosh. It's like I used to back in the 90s, I took myself so seriously as an artist, you know? It's like, why? I don't know why. We just did. To be an artist, we had to present ourselves well. We were looking for galleries. It's like, if you're not having fun in your work, like I'm having fun telling you about this today. I'm having fun building this YouTube channel. Maybe some people won't like it, but whatever. I'm having fun. You have, the way to keep your passion, the way to keep your love is to continue to have fun. It doesn't have to be like drinking and running around and going crazy, but sometimes, it's really interesting because in Kundalini Yoga, there's some remedies. When you get so serious, there's sometimes where a guru will give you a remedy of, you need to go out and get as drunk as you want and take shots of tequila. Because sometimes you need something that profound to break you out of a bummer mood. If you're doing the energy work, you're doing all this work, you need just something to like break you out of it. So isn't that interesting that literally is a remedy. That's like a health remedy, to go out, drink tequila shots, get drunk, have fun, dance. Don't even think about your work anymore. You have to take those breaks to get sleep and get away. So you're going to have more fun when you're rested. You're going to have more fun when you eat good. You're going to have more fun when you're just not 24/7 working. So these days of just emptying your brain, which I show in Unfolding, I used to think back in the old days that if I let go of my hold moving forward, like if I let go of my vision, that I wouldn't be able to get it back. So I would hold my vision, dream it, sleep it, eat it, build it, But what I realize now, and I show this in my membership Unfolding, is how to get into this space and clear your body and clear this energy and work with your chakra system to help your chakra system, which is the energy centers in your body, nourish your body to stay young and vital and full of energy. And all of it's in there, and it's really fun and exciting. And I love, this is how I get my fun, really, is following, a lot of these. So when you're having fun, you love what you do, you continue your passion, you have your creativity that is just bubbling over, and you will never lack in support of your sales. You will never lack in sales. You will always have your people find you, but it's about you keeping your passion and having fun. And you could have your business for 20 years if you wanted to, or your work for 20 years. It'll always be changing. You'll always have your creativity. You'll always have you. It's your creativity. Without your creativity as an artist, you have nothing. You're burnt out. So, we work purely on the energy world as builders and creators. We work bringing in energies from the world and working it out through our work in a very, very profound way. Artists are the heartbeat of the world. So, you want to really keep yourself healthy in all these different ways. And these are tips that I would give you. And the only other things that I would say is please check out my profile. I do have a subscription for Unfolding. And like I say, in Unfolding, you can get in and explore. I built this membership 2.5 years ago, so there's a lot of material in there. I show up live with you. I give you instructions every month on how to get around and use this to help keep yourself strong as an artist and a builder. I also have coming up, if you want to get on the wait list, it's a pathfinding course that I built that has such great reviews. It literally, if you don't know your passion yet or you don't feel aligned, it's an 8-week online course, and I mentor people twice a week. We do work with ourselves. It's different yogas and energies and physical work and all of this to bring you through from point A to point Z in a beautiful, beautiful way. And that's called pathfinding. You're welcome to get on the wait list and just go in there and explore. So pop into my profile, see what you like, and see if you're interested in anything there. And I hope you guys enjoyed this. And if nothing else, I hope this helps you out on your journey as an artist and a visionary.